if you screw up, the game will go on. When you're doing PA, and you get one shot, and a lot of it, some dudes, much love if you're watching this and you're this guy. Well, I'm official. I'm the official voice. Well, yes, you are, but it doesn't matter. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. Now, I've had people go upside down because maybe I misunderstood something, or I just, or whatever. Somehow I got the call wrong. And I've had people react strongly to that, officials, players, whatever. And it happens sometimes. But at the end of the day, am I important? No. There's plenty of me. I'm very proud. Look, I'm very proud. There's 13 of us in the dub. There's 32 of us in the NHL. I am extraordinarily proud to be that.
He is the public address announcer for the Las Vegas Aces. We have the pleasure in welcoming Chet Buchanan onto Hoopsology. Welcome, Chet.
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having me. How did you find me? How did you know? Why me? What are we doing?
Our show loves interviewing just everything surrounding basketball culture, and we've interviewed a ton of public address announcers,
sure,
both with the NBA and WNBA. So you're next on the list. We want to have every public address announcer with the NBA and WNBA. So it's a pleasure to have you on.
Who's the best? Who's the best in the game? Who am I shooting for? Who am I trying to catch up to?
It's tough. I think it's just like trying to pick between like your kids or what's your best episode's tough. I don't know. I have to go back and think about it because I think everybody's story is so unique. So everybody has their own different fan bases. And I have my own personal bias because I live here in Denver. So we've talked to Kyle Speller, who's the PA announcer here. So
Kyle's a good
tough.
dude.
Yeah.
DJ Paws is my guy.
Yeah.
DJ Paws and I did the USA Basketball Showcase in London last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I love Paws, and I hear great things about Kyle.
Yeah, he's great. Before we jump into your career, I want to engage in our tradition on our show where we talk about basketball culture. We talk about the hottest topics, of course, but we delve into what makes the game of basketball so great. Why do people like basketball in the first place? I feel like that's not really discussed. So take this question any way you want it. What is your first or favorite basketball memory?
Well, first, I'm a Sonics guy. I grew up in Seattle, so I'm a Sonics guy. Bring them back. And that's the beauty of the, also in the winter, I do the Seattle Kraken. You can't play hockey and basketball in that building on the same night, so there's room to do all of it. And George Tolles was the original Sonic. Was he the very first? If he wasn't the very first, he was shortly after that, and it was the early days of the Sonics. Back in the Spencer Haywood days, the Bill Russell as coach days, the when they won their title days, Gus DJ and all of that. And George was just very understated. George wore a tie. He was an advertising executive. Even to this day, he's late 80s, maybe early 90s. And I talk to him not enough. I don't call him often enough. Like we never call our parents enough. I never call George Tolles enough. So to your point, early Sonics games, and I guess the part that really ignited me into wanting to do PA is, first of all, I'm wondering, where's that voice coming from? And then I see the microphone down on the scores table, and I'm like, he gets to sit right courtside. And then there was a traveling call, and I don't know who it was on. I don't know who they were playing. I don't know who the Sonics were playing, whatever. And George simply said, "Steps." And I thought that was the greatest thing I'd ever heard. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. So I work it in once a game. The first traveling call, I give an official traveling. And then the second one, I'll just go steps. And it was funny. So we're doing USA Basketball Showcase. And it's a big deal. It's an international thing. It's a FIBA thing and all of that. And I go steps, and Pat Walker from 3 Point Productions and who was working with the NBA. And he was our show caller that he kind of leans over and goes, might want to just stick with traveling in the USA Basketball Showcase.
Can you discuss your origin story and getting into public address announcing. I'm always so curious. Everybody's story is so different in terms of the guests we've had on the show. So I just want to get your entry into just, I totally expect to be, it's a pretty phenomenal profession to do. Just being the best seat in the house and witnessing all these different moments.
Yeah. And what's really funny is I'm not sure like really how it happened, how it happened. As long as I can remember, I wanted to be on the radio. I wanted to be on TV. I want to say the very first thing I did was high school soccer. And I think it was just because I was available and they knew that I went to the career day with the radio DJ that would come to our high school. And I think somebody just asked me and I said, yes. Eventually I ended up doing, oddly enough, the girls' basketball games. And it was fun. We just had a good time. And I was just kind of throwing it, and at that time there were PA had kind of evolved a little bit. And so you were starting to get these bigger voices and these bigger, and it was a little more of a show. And so, yeah, and she's still my friend today. Julie Newbreck was our star at my high school for girls basketball. And yeah, and so I was Julie Newbreck. And people were like, what is that? Stupid high school kid, just doing it. But that's kind of how it happened. And I was just gassing up, my buddy. So that was really where it started. And, and it's just kind of been a progression ever since. I did a lot of in-arena hosting, a lot of it. And there's just a little sidebar to kind of expand on your question. I tried to get the Vegas Golden Knights job, and they said, hey, we hear you're a really great host. Are you sure you don't want to do that? And I was like, no, I want to be a PA guy, because I'd been doing in-arena for long enough, and I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the PA guy. And they were like, oh. And they kind of, and by the way, Bruce Cusick, he just beat me. He just totally destroyed me. And he's the right guy for the Vegas Golden Knights. And if I get the Golden Knights gig, then I don't get the Kraken gig later. And, so things have a way of working out.
What are the key differences in being an in-arena host compared to public address announcing?
Just your vibe. I mean, if you're an in-arena host, you're dealing with fans, you're generally on camera, you're doing all of that. You very rarely have anything, if you screw up, the game will go on. When you're doing PA, and you get one shot, and a lot of it, some dudes, much love if you're watching this and you're this guy. Well, I'm official. I'm the official voice. Well, yes, you are, but it doesn't matter. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. Now, I've had people go upside down because maybe I misunderstood something, or I just, or whatever. Somehow I got the call wrong. And I've had people react strongly to that, officials, players, whatever. And it happens sometimes. But at the end of the day, am I important? No. There's plenty of me. I'm very proud. Look. I'm very proud. There's 13 of us in the dub. There's 32 of us in the NHL. I am extraordinarily proud to be that. But I know, and I won't say who it was or where it was, but I was the in-arena guy. And the PA guy was, what I'm saying is official. What you're saying is cheerleading. What you're saying, you're doing your little games. You're doing your little contests. You're getting everybody, stand up and scream, that kind of. And what I'm saying is important. And he would literally talk over me if he felt, like if a ref had changed a call or whatever. We'd be in the middle of, the shootout, okay, you got to make a layup, free throw, 3-pointer. And we'd be in the middle of that. And he'd be like, the previous play was overturned, whatever. And it was like, wow, man, you couldn't wait. No, I'm official. You should defer to me. And it's like, So I have a great time. I take what I do very seriously, very seriously. It's important. What was the first question I asked you? You've talked to everybody in the dub. You've talked to everybody in the NBA. Who's the best? That was the first question. I care about that, but I don't take me. I'm lucky to be here.
So what was the first game with the Aces like? What was that? Can you walk us through that?
I saw, and thank you for giving me the heads up that was coming, because I had the same reaction when I saw the question. It was against the Chinese national team.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I hadn't done basketball in a few years. We have the audition. Everything goes well, and it was. But I've been in Las Vegas for a long time as a morning radio personality. So there was a little extra. It was a little extra hot sauce on it. Vegas, for everything that it is now, is only recently a city that has pro sports. Yeah. And I've kind of been involved. I was involved with the XFL back in the day. I was involved with the UFL. Won a championship. 2007, Las Vegas Locomotives. Graham Gano, 33-yard field goal to win it. So there was expectation, and then the first game against the Chinese national team. Welcome to the WNBA, and it was it was fun. It was challenging. It's a high wire act. It's kind of why I hadn't done summer league in a number of years, and this year I agreed to do a few games. Summer league's a trip, man, because you got all these guys. You might know 2 or 3 of them if you watch a lot of college hoops. You might know a few guys, the guys that are, high draft picks and that kind of thing. But there's a lot of dudes you've never seen before. There might be a couple of tricky names. PR people are much better about it than they used to be. And they'll come over and you can run the roster real quick. But honestly, if you get the first game of the day, that's awesome. But after that, there's like 10 minutes between games. Yeah. You're flipping like you're not memorizing rosters. Good luck with that. You're lucky if you get a roster. You're lucky if the roster's right. If you get a chance to go through names with somebody, you're lucky. But for a hockey game, I'll start prep the day before, maybe 2 days before. I thank you, NHL, for your pronunciation guide. I don't trust it. We have amongst the NHL guys, we have a thing called PA announcer help. And so we all read our rosters, and then you can go reference that, right? So if you're not sure how to say somebody's name, well, then you'll say it the same way the home PA guy says it. And if he's going to screw it up, he's going to screw it up 41 times a year. He's going to screw it up for all 41 games. So, there's just, you have ways to prep and you have ways to get it right. Summer League is just a rocket ride. And it's just like, just hang in there, keep flailing at it. You have, with the W, I sit next to Kelly McGee, who is the absolute best official scorer in the game. Fight me, come to Vegas, fight me. I'll pay for your plane ticket. Let's go. You tell me you got a better score than Kelly McGee, you're wrong. Kelly does a lot of big stuff. She was the official timekeeper for the Super Bowl this year. You know what I mean? So she's on her game. She's amazing. And Kelly and I lean on each other a lot. We kind of have, we have unspoken language, and we back each other up on fouls and who's on the court and who, sometimes you get screened out. Who made that? It is, and she'll either hear my call, or sometimes I have to lean to her. Who got that? 17, okay. And you just keep banging away at it. Summer League, the scorers might not be, the table crew might not be as seasoned. There's usually 1 or 2 that we all know each other. And so, we look out for each other, but again, it's fun. It's just a blast. And it's kind of like going back to the roots, which is always cool.
It's interesting you bring up Summer League, because that's one of my favorite things about the NBA. In terms of that environment, have you had any players kind of confront you in terms of player pronunciations that, because these are players that they're not going to make the NBA. So a lot of them aren't. So it's just kind of like, I'm just curious if you had any interactions with this players that are not going to be playing in October.
I didn't botch and listen, I only did like 4 games. I didn't do a lot. And I've also been around long enough that, whether if it's college, I'll find your SID. If I know the questions to ask, I know a lot of, and hey, one of the cool parts about Summer League is that there's a lot of folks there I had Miami, and I wasn't sure who Miami's PR guy was, but I know who Eric Spoelstra is. And the cool part about that is if you're cool, they're cool. So I was able to just go up, hey, Spo, hey, coach, good to see you again. He looked at me like, yeah, USA Basketball. Hey, we've seen each other, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Yeah, what do you need? Yeah, where's your PR guy? Oh, God, Billy. Hey, he's right there. Redhead guy right there. Grab it. Hey, Bill. That kind of thing. Come over here. And so you would think that, guys would look at you. Well, look, you know the people that you can approach and the people that you can't.
Yeah.
You also know who's probably going to know the answer to your question and who's not. And so you can track it down and make it happen. But you're right, Summer League's just a fantastic atmosphere. And no, these guys, I also tell people, if you're that concerned with what I've got going on, you might need to focus just a touch more, and make your free throws.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Can you walk our audience through just a day of preparation in terms of a game, just in terms of your pregame routine, and then afterwards? Like, I know I've talked to some other PA announcers, sometimes the adrenaline of what happens on the court or on the ice in your case, they need some time to cool down because it's so intense after every game. So just walk us through your routine, just what you go through.
Last part first. I don't always have the opportunity to wind down because I get up at 3:30 in the morning, 3:15, really. So if it's a weeknight game, there's no wind down. You gotta let it go. Usually by the time I get to my car, I've thought of 73 different things I'd like to do differently. Probably beat myself up a little bit over stupid stuff that I don't even remember by the time I get out of the parking lot. But no, game day starts. I want to have rosters, updated rosters, everything in the bag. I do my own. For the dub, I do my own. It's just simply name and number because I don't need anything else. The Aces allow me to write my own intros. So I can be creative. I can do whatever I want for that. And God bless them. The visitors, I also do some auctioneering as a side hustle. Probably do about 40 events a year. And so that's literally what I do. At the guards, at the forwards, and at center. We're playing Minnesota on Saturday. The Lynx head coach is Cheryl Reeve. Video 2, 1. My show caller's looking at me, and when I get to that last line, and he's not really sure because I'm going fast, and he can't really, you can't hear everything. And so when I get to that last line, what we've started doing is I point to so he knows the head coach of the Lynx is Cheryl, and he knows so he can go 2, 1. And we know that cadence. But yeah, I have it all set first thing in the morning. You go to the NBA site, which has the WNBA refs for that day. Plug that into the roster. Check injuries later on in the afternoon. Our call time, we have a call time of 2:30. Our meeting, our pre-show meeting starts at 3 for a 7:00 tip. 4 hours ahead of tip. I show up at 2:58. And, I get there a few minutes before the meeting starts. By that time I've also already talked to Aces PR, who has talked to the visiting team PR. So we recheck, injuries, illnesses, whatever. So all that's set. I print out my own script at home so that I can go over that. Check for misspellings, bad punctuation, bad phrasing, bad, whatever. And then make it good. Because that's on me. By the time I get there, we're ready to go. Sometimes I'll do a little of that while we're doing our meeting. Meeting lasts about 20 minutes. We go out, we rehearse whatever we have to rehearse. It's never anything that I'm involved in, really. But sometimes even when they're doing halftime stuff, I'll give them their intro just so they know what it's going to sound like. But there's, that's pretty cut and dried. I have started to, I started doing this with the Kraken because the Kraken, Dave, that's 5 hours in advance. The NHL needs extra time where you're not lights out, and they need extra time to check the board ads and stuff like that. So they carve out an hour. Then there's, and there's just timing things. So I started with the Kraken, and I do this now with the Aces. I'll go walk the concourse and get in. I put my earbuds in, listen to my music. I go over whatever I may need to try and get right in my head as far as rosters or whatever. And sometimes it's just, and I get 3 to 5 miles in before the game. Walk for about an hour, maybe hour and a half. And then I used to go eat, but I'm trying to get my game right. So no, I walk a little, and then it started with the Aces. It's also carried over to I go buy beverages. We have a Starbucks right outside Michelob Ultra Arena in Vegas. And my order is usually about 10 different people, everywhere from our COO to Kelly, who sits right next to me. And we all get beverages. That came out of necessity, where I was going to get a tea because my voice was a little hammered one time. And I thought, man, I need some help getting through this. And so I was going, hey, where are you going? I'm going to Starbucks. Well, I'll go with you. Then we come back with Starbucks. There was like 3 of us. In fact, it was our in-arena hosts and me. It was CJ and at the time Big D, and who's now the in-arena guy for the Nashville Predators. And he's a big-time country music DJ and on the radio and all this. Yeah, he's a much bigger deal than I am. And so we come back and everybody goes, why didn't you give me one? Oh, fun. Well, next time you go, get me one. And that literally grew. The hosts had to stay behind to rehearse something. So I went, well, I'll just get it. And we blew out whoever it was by like 20. So now it's every game. For the Kraken, I bring 10 teas. They're a mixture of green tea and mint tea with honey. Our audio guy gets a hot chocolate, which is about that much hot chocolate and that much whip. And and it's a tradition now. And that's part of it. And then game, I always right after doors open, probably about 10 minutes before my first hit, I literally make a loop around the arena because we've got longtime season ticket holders, a lot of people that are super into the Aces. I just go around and it's fist bumps. And we all fist bump. So we're all together. We're all there, even before the game starts, even before I, say, hello, Aces fans. Welcome to Michelob Ultra Arena.
You talk about the culture of the Aces. What makes it unique compared to other teams in the W, you think?
Well, yeah, you see, I was going to push back a little on the idea of unique because I would never want to go, well, we're better. I'm sure they hate us. I'm sure there's people that hate us. And rightfully so. We've come by it honestly. We earned it. There was some attitude in that building, and they earned that. We were back-to-back champions. And for me, hell yeah, I want to lead that charge. I want them to feel that. Our in-arena hosts want them to feel that. Our game producers, our guys from 3-point, all of that, we want attitude. So I think it's just been that the team was a very early adopter of, yeah, let's make this a show. Let's make this NBA quality. Let's do this the right way. And they were, and literally no one's ever said boo to me about anything that I've done. Bill Lambier used to come over and he'd give me a hard time every once in a while. He'd be like, you're saying too much of their name. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, do it more like LA, like they used to in the Forum. He goes, remember that Showtime Lakers? I go, yeah, Bill, I'm familiar. He goes, they used to just say Lambier. And I'm like, okay. So then literally we were playing Washington Mystics, and Elena Deladon's killing us. And I'm just like, Deladon. And Lambier would look over and go, yeah, we want the fans want to be led. They want you to get them, and they want to be involved. And you just got to tell them. And the idea that we started, I'd never seen this before, and now it seems like everybody's doing it. And so if we weren't the first, I'm willing to. Listen. You steal from me, you've stolen twice in most cases, but miss twice, get a slice. Oh my God! So if they miss twice, everybody gets a slice of pizza from this place, outside, and there's like a little mall in Mandalay Bay, and you go down to Slice of Vegas Pizza and get a slice of pizza for free. If an opposing team player misses free throws, and I got to be honest with you, if it was me, if I was an opposing team coach, I would go out there and I'd go clank 2 off the rim and get this out of the way. Just get it. I'd start the game that way. The very first time I went to the line, I would do that because we say it, miss twice. Get a slice. Dejanay Carrington at the line, shooting 2. And if they miss God help them if they miss the first one, because then everybody's losing their minds. And this idiot is over here going, who wants pizza? And they're like, a freaking piece of pizza. And it's great. So the idea that they've let us create in that space, and we've stumbled into a few things, and I'm aware of what we're allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do. And luckily I have a good enough relationship with 99% of the officials that I've had somebody, there was a team that used to complain about me every time they came to Vegas, every time, to the point of where I went over and I was like, Coach, and he goes, oh no, you need to understand. I love you. I can't let you get away with this. And I went, got you, man. I said, so listen, if you want me to ramp it up for you, if you need, if I can help you, great. Because I think, then he goes and stomps to the official. The official comes over and goes, hey, and that's happened a handful of times. You know what I mean? But we know what we can do and what we can't. And the fans are way into it. Ownership is way into it. Mark Davis loves it. Mark Davis is, look, if we're not engaging the fans enough, and in the NFL, the NFL seems to have gone to a whole hands-off policy. But in our building, Mark will be like, hey, what happened? Why isn't Chet telling him defense?
That's interesting in terms of the philosophies. Because I feel like with the NFL, it has a much more serious tone, which I think lately they've kind of changed it in terms of like bringing back the celebrations and stuff like that. But I think sports is supposed to be fun. I don't think it's supposed to be like super serious. I mean, that's the whole point is joy and just
it's entertainment. Yeah,
it's entertainment, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the cool things about the XFL that first year of they were at least just trying different things to make it fun. And and we were the ones who they let them put nicknames on the back of their of their jerseys. And we had the guy who's he hate me.
Yep.
And literally it took 4 seconds for we were like 30's got he hate me on his he hate me over the right side for 4 yards. It was great. It was fun. And I think there's a place for that in a situation like the XFL. I would never want to see that in the dub, but I will say it's I'll give it if Asia Wilson goes to the line, the MVP to the free throw line shooting, because we know, and the Vegas crowd is incredibly proud of Asia Wilson for being a 3-time MVP and presently the reigning MVP. And, and the shoe and the commercials and all that other stuff. Because, she right now is what it should be for everybody. Not everybody, but everybody who's reached, that level. So, yeah. And again, we have a lot of freedom. I mean, every once in a while, somebody will say something, so we kind of look at them like, really? And I'll get people asking me internally, well, what about blah, blah, blah? I explain it. Oh. Okay. Yeah, good. Great.
That's interesting that every once in a while you'll get complaints. Do they come usually from the opposing side, the opposing teams? Those complaints? Is it
the coach? Oh yeah. No. The opposing GM. The opposing. You can't. That's okay.
Court. Yeah. What do you? I don't understand. That's crazy.
99% of the time, I look at him and I go, and literally, it's my thing. If you're worried about me, you know, coach, there's a reason why you're down 20 and it's not me.
Yeah.
Like literally, if I'm affecting the game that much, wow, you need to work on your player's mental ability. So
Nope, totally agree. You sparked a question. I'm just, in your opinion, what do you think is the future of just in-arena entertainment? What are things do you think, not only just the W, but just all our sports can do to just improve that relationship with the fans, you think? Do you see anything on the horizon that could be improved just in terms of, somebody buying a ticket? And like you were saying, some sports, they kind of want to ramp up the seriousness, and you see, other leagues trying to lean into that more entertainment factor.
I think there's still a line of, while I want to create traditions, I want people, I love call and response. I love fans being involved with the show, that they get it. It's the coolest thing ever. This team came from San Antonio. And so our first year, little backstory, my wife was raised in Schertz, Texas, which is also just outside of San Antonio. Her dad did stats for the Spurs back in the old Hemisphere Arena, the George Gervin days. You know what I mean? And there's a picture that's adorable of my wife when she's like 5 years old, little curly red hair, long red hair, curly buck teeth, the whole thing. And George Gervin is palming her head. And she's standing, and he had those he had really long arms that reached down to his knees. He's palming her head. So I'm familiar. So I married into a Spurs family towards the end of their championship runs. And, like my wife got to meet David Robinson one day, and she lost her mind. And I was able to introduce her to Tim Duncan one time, and she was just like, so I'm familiar. So one of the early games at Michelob Ultra, and one of our players goes to the line, and I say, so-and-so goes to the line, shooting 2 shots. And these 2 guys, this guy is sitting courtside, and then his kid is wearing a jersey that says like Spurs Dancing Kid, or, it said something like that. They stand up and go, 2 shots. And I went, and I was like, I know. And they're looking at me, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what that is, because the Spurs did that forever. And I wish I could remember the dude's name. He's doing PA in Houston now for the Rockets, or at least he was. But he was the Spurs guy for a long time. And he was the first one that I ever saw do that. And so the next time I go, so-and-so at the line shooting 2 shots, and they stand up, 2 shots, and you hear this murmur through the crowd. And then people picked up. By the end of the game, everybody's doing it. And now they get freaking T-shirts that say 2 shots, and it's a thing. People they'll bring their kids over. Look, honey, that's the guy that goes 2 shots, and the kids will be like 2 shots. And it's just the weirdest thing. So I think there's for all of that and all of the hype and all of the videos and all of the amazing things that people are doing now with graphics and music and lights and the whole thing. Game production has leapt forward and will continue to leap forward. It's still a basketball game, and our job is still to make sure that people know who scored the basket. And you got to get the fouls right, and you got to do all that. So where's it going? God Almighty, the stuff that Milwaukee was doing this year with the tree and everything, was just mind blowing. And the NHL everybody's doing stuff now. Everybody's doing big things. But I think, I think you still have to make sure that is a connection with the fans. It doesn't overshadow what you're doing. You want to, and I think everybody's aware of that. But it's just, the creativity is just insane, and it's so cool. And I love going to other places and seeing how they do things. And by the way, if you're watching this, and I don't care if you are the sophomore team PA guy at the smallest high school, whatever, or if you're the guy who, whatever NBA team or whatever, if you come to Vegas, hit me up. I will, if I can't get you tickets, which I usually can. Mine usually are available. I usually have an extra pair. But I'll take care of you. And I would love to talk to you. I'd love to hang out. And I'm sure we'll get to that at the end. But it's just the more, look, I'm a big fan of other teams and other people and what they do. And, and if you think I'm cool, that's the greatest thing ever. If you think I'm decent at this, I can't. Even the thought of it, just like.
Chet, thank you very much for spending some time with myself and our audience. Truly appreciate it. Can you let our audience know where you can find you on social media, any upcoming projects, what you're up to for the rest of the year as well?
It's the end already. This is it. We're done. They're making me leave. I could do this for another 3 hours. They're going to make me go now. Fine. Follow me on social at Chet Buchanan, ChetBuchanan. We're into the second half of the WNBA, and then things get crazy with WNBA playoffs and NHL preseason. Same thing. If you get to Seattle, would love to see you. Man, you owe it to yourself to go to Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle at least once in your life, because it's a beautiful building. I'm a stadium nerd. I'm an arena nerd. I'm a sports production nerd. And all of that. So I just think it's cool that we get to do what we do. And I love other people that do it, because that's how I got into it, because I was a fan, and I always will be a fan. And, I'll talk mess too. But, if you get to Vegas or you get to Seattle, hit me up or any social media at Chet Buchanan.
Awesome. Chet, good luck with the rest of this season with not only Aces, but the Kraken as well. I've watched some of their games on TV. It seems incredible what they do. So I'll be.
Yeah, how did we, man? I thought if anybody besides Vegas was going to get a Stanley, they do that for game production. I thought it was going to be us in Tampa Bay.
Oh, no.
That's great. They put on a great show. They earned that. They came by it honestly. And so now we got more work to do. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having me. It's truly an honor. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks.